back. This is what's this part 5? I think y'all right. See, this is part 5. Let's get into it, man. Let's go.
Hard to ignore, and it had the whole of America terrified of Chicago's streets. However, make no mistakes, whilst other cities were indeed deadlier than Chicago on a per capita basis, certain areas of Chicago, like the south side where 600 reside, and the more violent but less infamous west side of the city, were in fact still setting records for concentrated violence. And while the year of 2014 would actually turn out to be the safest in decades in the wider Chicago, in the neighborhoods around Washington Park, the war would reach a new boiling point. So even if you didn't think the city of Chicago was anything like Iraq, the boys from 600 were living in a true Chirac war zone, and the savages that ran the streets there were becoming increasingly violent as well as famous. In 2014, we would see things reach breaking point for 600, as some of their most famous and violent members would be hell-bent on waging war on their ops. But unfortunately for them, this time the authorities wouldn't be far behind. And for members like Rondo and C-Day, a small mistake would ultimately wind up seeing them losing everything in an instant. On the night of February the 21st, 600 members Rondo, real name Clint Massey, C-Day, real name Courtney Ely, Tay600, real name Jamonte Carpenter, and Lil Boo, real name Jerome Anderson, were at a party in an area called Murder Town. The party was located at 39th Street and Wentworth in the Wentworth Gardens housing project, which was actually once considered to be the best public housing project in Chicago before the gangs took it over. As seen in the image taken on the night of the party, Rondo was actually wearing a very loud and easily identifiable tracksuit in a bright orange and black camouflage print. And in that photo, Rondo can actually be seen with a group of girls, some of whom were part of a female-led rap group called Pretty in Pink. Pretty in Pink were making a name for themselves in the early drill scene, releasing several songs and music videos, most of them filmed by the drill legend DJ Ken. This group would even get shout-outs from Chief Keef, and in their music videos and on their social media, they could often be seen hanging out with members of the Big D sets around the Washington Park and Woodlawn areas, particularly 600 and O-Block. Some of them can also be seen making cameos in 600's music videos, such as 600 Part 2, and in their songs, they would even claim 600. On their social media, Pretty in Pink and 600 would use moniker P&P 600, and seemingly these girls quite literally identified as members of the 600 gang themselves.
Smoking, doink. See that ass, sleepy fool.
Yeah. Don't make me come kill you for my little sister. I'll kill you on phone number.
This group included girls like Hannah, who was one of the main rappers of the group, even making tracks with Chief Keef. She also made music under the artist name Big Pink, and in recent years under the artist name Han Win. The other main rappers were Marie, who at the time rapped under the name Marie Ballout, but has since released music under the new artist name Big Pink Riri, as well as Shady, whose song Go In was a hit in Chicago in 2011, with the music video standing now at over 1.5 million views. This music video would also end up launching the career of Katie Got Bands, who makes a cameo in the video toting a tiny handgun. And then there's Amia, aka Lil Pink, who is actually D-Rose's sister, and Ray Ray, who was seemingly GBE Capo's girlfriend before his untimely passing in 2015, as well as many others. However, many of the members of Pretty in Pink were not from 600's hood, but were actually from the Murder Town area where this party was being held. Moreover, they certainly weren't the only girls who had been spending time with 600. According to court documents, on the night of February the 21st, 2014, 600 members would end up spending time with 3 other girls who were from the 600 neighborhood. At some point, Rondo and C-Day would leave the party with one of the girls in her van. Meanwhile, one or both of the girls still in the party would allegedly get into an argument with the members of Pretty in Pink, supposedly about a song that was being played. Perhaps this song was a Pretty in Pink song and they weren't fans, but during the argument, someone would shoot a gun in the air to try and stop the commotion. Now, the remaining 600 members, Tay and Lil Boo, would then leave the party with 2 girls, as well as Tay, who would allegedly make a call to C-Day telling him what had just happened at the party. However, Tay would later deny making this call.
These said that I called for them down there, bro. They say I called for them down and had that happen, which was a lie. That's why the that said it, when she got on the stand, they locked her ass up for perjury. When she got up there and lied, locked her up for perjury. Me more than them sister. Let's not forget that.
But soon after, they met C-Day, Rondo, and the third girl at a local.
Oh, didn't it say when like some girl snitched on them or something like that? I'm pretty sure, right? I think they said some girl snitched on them, and that's what like kind of happened. That's actually crazy.
Wendy's restaurant, and headed back to Wentworth Gardens with a plan of carrying out a get-back attack on whoever had fired those shots. Documents would show that D-Rose was also present at this time and got into the same car as Rondo and C-Day. At this time, a man named Javon Boyd was waiting around the Wentworth Gardens area in his car as he had been dispatched for a job on his shift as a taxi driver. The car itself had no company livery or any indication that it was being used as a taxi at the time, so to the average person, this just looked like a normal car. The 3 vehicles carrying 600 members would make their way to 38th Street on Princeton Avenue, and here they spotted the the idle car and noticed a man inside. The convoy then made a U-turn, and Rondo and C-Day would exit the vehicle and approach Boyd. Witnesses would then claim that they saw C-Day and Rondo open Javon's passenger side door and fire into the vehicle 4 or 5 times. They would then return to their car and leave the scene. However, unbeknownst to them, they had just made a grave error in touching Boyd's car with their bare hands, where police would later find C-Day's fingerprints. And to make matters worse for C-Day, he had also, once again, dropped his phone at the crime scene, this now being the second time that had happened. According to the girls, this was something that C-Day would even tell them.
And this boy left his phone at the crime scene, and that was the wrong person that they got. Not elected for 40+ years.
Seemingly in the process, also implying that he had indeed taken part in the murder of Fathead, during which he had previously left his phone in the van that was used in the murder. C-Day would then return to the scene with 2 of the girls, and once they would see that the scene had already been taken over by police, C-Day would then send one of the girls to try and retrieve the phone by talking to the cops and claiming that it belonged to her. This would turn out to be yet another grave mistake, as that girl would then proceed to give a false story about what had happened, as well as her real last name and real phone number. The police would also record the license plate number of her car, and this encounter between the girl and the police would begin their efforts to locate her, which they would eventually succeed in, making her the first of 3 girls who would begin opening up to the police about the events of that night. Clearly the shooting was not pre-planned, and was ultimately carried out in such a sloppy fashion that it almost seems as if the culprits didn't care if they got caught. And to make matters even worse, the whole ordeal was caught on surveillance cameras, and due to the brashly coloured clothing the pair was wearing, it made them very easy to be identified on the recording. One of the girls would later tell investigators that C-Day had questioned the driver as to where he was from, and unfortunately Javon Boyd was actually from this neighborhood. However, according to Javon Boyd's family, while he'd been in trouble with the law when he was younger, he was not gang affiliated, but simply just an honest man working 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet. By simply telling the truth that he was from that neighborhood that day, Javon Boyd had unknowingly sealed his fate, and by killing Javon in cold blood on the spot, just because of where he was from, Rondo and C-Day had also sealed theirs. Eventually, on the 7th of March 2014, Rondo number 9 would be arrested, and soon after, charged with the murder, followed by C-Day about a week later, with C-Day receiving no chance at bail due to his prior cases, while Rondo's bail was set at a whopping $2 million. And despite his now rich and famous friends like Lil Durk and Chief Keef, as well as Fredo Santana, Rondo would ultimately end up waiting for trial behind bars too. Following Rondo's arrest, DJ Academics, who was making a name for himself with his War in Chirac YouTube series, would clown on Rondo by going through a number of seemingly self-incriminating tweets that Rondo had put out immediately following this murder.
God damn it, I know this kid's only 17, but how dumb could you be? Now I gotta apologize in advance because I can't read this nonsense that these dudes are typing, all this bad hood vernacular. I can't really pronounce all this, but I'm gonna give it my best effort to enunciate some of this. I hate to be one of Rondo's number 9's associates on that day because he's tweeting everybody and everything, and he's probably incriminating them too. He tweeted a bunch at Lil Durk, and I'm guessing probably or hopefully Lil Durk wasn't involved, but he's tweeting him so much the cop probably has to investigate Lil Durk as well. He tweets out, "Don't sneak this us or we will come and kill you." God damn it, getting a high off that gun smoke. God damn it. If this is the new stupidity level that's going on in these streets, I need to stay my ass in the house.
Meanwhile, the police investigation would find that the phone left behind.
It's crazy that Academics became somebody from doing this War in Chirac. That's how
By C-Day was damaged as it had been run over by a vehicle, but moreover the phone had been remotely wiped, meaning that if C-Day had just realised this possibility earlier and not sent one of the girls on a dummy mission to try and retrieve the phone from the crime scene, that girl may not have been identified and then captured by police, eventually turning to the witness that began the whole process of bringing down both C-Day and Rondo. The police would also identify C-Day and Rondo's gang affiliations, as well as their music careers by listening to their songs on YouTube, and they would even realise that Rondo had actually worn the same outfit he committed the murder in a music video uploaded to YouTube just a week before the crime. However, the case would soon take a turn that would end up almost breaking the whole of 600 apart, as rumours would soon begin to spread about somebody snitching in this case. Soon after Rondo and C-Day were brought into custody, the legendary Chicago scene news site College Kid would post an article about Lil Reese denying online rumours that Rondo or C-Day were snitching. However, soon the rumours would begin circulating around another member, Tay600. Although at this point the fans weren't aware that Tay had allegedly been at the scene of the crime with Rondo and C-Day, one of the first to accuse Tay of snitching would be OJ from the 600 affiliated Lamron set, who in 2014 would send numerous shots from his now deleted Twitter account. Interestingly, OJ himself would receive snitching allegations years later when paperwork concerning the murder of Fathead would come out, with OJ being ironically accused of snitching on C-Day in that case too. But then, in June 2015, things began escalating quickly, as E-Day sent a cryptic tweet suggesting that somebody was no longer part of 600 due to them snitching, which the fans would quickly decipher was referring to Tay600, who would respond by vehemently denying allegations and seemingly dissing E-Day directly. Soon, other 600 members would chime in, with some seemingly staying neutral, while others like Boss Moose Moo and 600 Breezy would engage in Twitter beefs with Tay. Although at this point Breezy would still say that he hadn't seen any paperwork on Tay, meanwhile, the Chirac scorekeeper himself, the infamous Mubu Crump, would also weigh in on the matter, claiming that it was in fact C-Day who was snitching on Rondo.
And according to the Chirac scorekeeper Crump, he said this. He said, C-Day telling on Rondo. I hope he get out that jam. I ain't with the snitching. Rondo was always cool and respectful. Now, let's be clear. We're talking about the guy who's a domestic, the guy, the only savage to brand a weapon of mass destruction. Crump is claiming Rondo snitching.
Then, in 2016, things would really begin to heat up.
I don't know if C-Day's really snitching though. Like, people just bring out these such allegations, but they don't. Do they really know? Do they really know, or they're just saying this just to say it?
In March, it was reported that the trial of Rondo and C-Day was being delayed due to an uncooperative witness, and rumors would then start to spread that one of these witnesses was Tay himself, who instead of cooperating had actually gone on the run, with US Marshals being deployed to locate Tay, eventually finding him with an illegal weapon. However, once again, information about his arrest would come out sparsely. Meanwhile, Rondo and C-Day's trial would move ahead, and on the 11th of March, it was reported that both had been found guilty and were facing 45 years to life, with 600 Breezy, who had apparently been at the court tweeting the bad news, while other members like Just Blow and S-Dot would react, naturally being devastated at this loss. An emotional 600 Breezy would also air out his grievances on Twitter with Tay600, calling him a snitch and blaming him for the outcome. At this point, pretty much everybody in or close to 600, including people like Lil Durk and Lil Reese, would begin to attack Tay for snitching.
I don't know what Tay 600 snitching. I don't know about his snitch ass. I don't hang with him. Them not my homies.
However, Tay, who was still locked up at this point, would once again come out and firmly deny any snitching allegations. In April, the Chicago drill vlogger legend Zach TV would post a clip of a jail phone interview with Tay, together with an explosive description of what Tay had allegedly told him during their full conversation, although the clip itself would provide very little new information, besides Tay claiming that people were hating on him because he had been intimate with their girlfriends.
But I'm in this cooler, bro. I'm deep down the cooler. I'm just, man, I'm anxious right back out to the streets. I'm missing a lot of money, a lot of moves, a lot of food being fed. I need to hurry up, get out of the dress, clean this on BD. And this time, I'm dropping all the juice. I'm going to go back to white man to me from 2013 and 2014 when I was my baby mama.
But then in May, C-Day finally was sentenced, receiving a whopping 38 years. This was followed by the sentencing of Rondo in July, who would receive 39 years, just one more than C-Day. In August, DJ Academics would report that Tay, on the other hand, had received a 30-month sentence for a gun he was caught with when he was arrested earlier that year. Also in August, Say Cheese would drop their interview with 600 Breezy, who would explain that he had seen the paperwork and that Tay had given a statement to the police, although he ultimately hadn't ended up testifying against Rondo and C-Day during the trial.
A lot of people, they're accusing Tay 600 to running his mouth, but there hasn't been no paperwork for it, right? Has there been paperwork seen, or is it just like a assumption?
Now this the thing with cases like that, bro. I ain't gonna be on stick on it too much. You feel me? Like that paperwork don't be public, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? When it's some serious like that, only certain eyes can see that paperwork. Mm-hmm. But we seen it. Everybody from this block seen it. If we went to that courtroom, that lawyer let us see it, bro. Mm-hmm. So we just not gonna lie on nobody, bro. Feel me? And we love this shorty, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was out here with this.
So the lawyer let y'all see some paperwork. How would the lawyer show y'all the paperwork? Nigga, it's not your case. So they're allowed to see it.
We ain't never thought, bro. You know what I'm saying?
If that's you, let me know down in the comments below. Cause
I told him, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I talked to him one time after this. You know what I'm saying? I just told him, like, you feel me? I feel like he just made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have done nothing like that. But that pressure got on him, and he felt like nobody was going to know what was said in that interrogation room. But he ain't touched that stand. You know, he ain't touched that stand, bro. He wasn't going to do that, bro. He didn't think it was going to have to go that far. But that's misfortunate, bro.
E-Day would also give an interview to Say Cheese, confirming that Tay was no longer in 600.
Now, a lot of your fans wanted me to ask you about, Tay 600. That whole situation.
The Tay 600, man, yeah, you already know, man. He ain't right, man. Told, man, You told on, bro, no. Something ain't right, You know how it be, you know what I'm saying?
Your fans want to know, like, is he still 600 or is it like?
Hell nah.
Okay.
Dead.
So he's no longer around, he can't come around here?
No.
At this point, fans were looking for any kind of proof as to what had actually happened. And right then, a bombshell would drop and go viral as an alleged statement given by Tay was dropped online, seemingly showing that Tay had indeed snitched on his friends. However, this statement would turn out to be completely false, as Tay would explain to Say Cheese in December, at this point already being a free man once again, having already gotten an early release.
Let's talk about this statement.
See, my thing was about that statement is, you feel me, be so dumb and stupid. You stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, man. For one, that ain't have a paper. Look, my daddy just did 10 years in a federal prison, and like 10 told him. I was a shorty, we had the paperwork that was about this thick, man. It let you know who said what and what said what, and it wasn't in pen like that fake ass that you just wrote me. And then for two, they got my birthday wrong on there. They say I was being held on 26th in California when I was doing the investigation. That's the address to the Cook County Jail. That's not the address to a police station, which where I wasn't at, you feel me? Then, like, okay, if I'm gonna tell on someone, I guess I ain't got the time I would tell the truth. I didn't know none of them when I was 4 years old. Courtney first, you feel me? And I didn't even meet him till I was a teenager. Me and Rondo, I met Rondo later on, and we was going to grammar school together, but I never went to grammar school with C-Day. I only went to grammar school with Rondo, and that was about a year because I graduated before then. Then, I never went to high school with C-Day or Rondo. We ended up all going to the alternative school for probably, I think C-Day got kicked out like the first day I got him in there, he get kicked out. Me and Rondo, we was in there, but you know, he ended up stopped going too, and I dropped out too, so it was like we weren't even in school together. Yeah. So this it don't make no sense.
Coming into 2017, the narrative was turning in Tay's
I'm
favor
trying
as
to figure
report.
out what the fuck is this nigga talking about? Yeah. Like, what is he talking about? Like, what?
About the released court documents, not including any proof of Tay snitching, would begin to spread. In March, Tay would drop a song called The Truth, where he rapped about the case, saying how people calling him a rat had never seen him in the papers, as well as saying that 600 was still cool with the women who had testified in the court against Rondo and C-Day. Also in March, Vlad TV would post a clip from their interview with Tay, where he would explain what had happened with the case, saying how police had told him that they knew he had been present during the murder and tried to intimidate him to tell more, but he didn't budge, explaining that he wasn't scared because there wasn't any proof that he had been there other than some witness statements.
It's a simple fact, they can't prove that I witnessed anything. I know this, you feel me? They can't prove nothing like that because of the simple fact of I'm not on camera doing nothing. You know, it might be people identifying me saying that I saw it or I was at the scene or whatever, but you know, that's my word against theirs, you feel me? That ain't nothing that they can automatically just put perjury on, you feel me? Like, that's something that I had to have a trial within itself, you feel me? So I wasn't really worried about nothing like that. They didn't threaten me with perjury right in the investigation room though.
Tay would also accuse 600 Breezy of lying about seeing any paperwork about him.
They was there, and my people told me they never seen Breezy, you feel me? And so if he came now, he came and briefly left. Like, he didn't even stay long enough to see a lot of things unfold in the trial, you feel what I'm saying?
But even Fredo Santana would tweet saying that Tay didn't snitch. In August, it was even reported that Rondo himself was denying that Tay snitched in his new jail phone freestyle, which Tay would take as yet another victory. During 2018, things were seemingly beginning to calm down, with Tay even releasing part of a call between him and 600 Breezy, who was locked up at the time, where they would chop it up about the past and hashing out their differences. But under the surface, there was a lot of tension, and the relationship between Tay and the rest of 600 seemingly wouldn't be amended.
Well, I did clear that up. E-Day is lying. You gonna listen to talk. I've never had anything taken from me. This is something that y'all need to know. I'm clarifying this now. I have never had anything taken from me, man. Nothing. They be putting false in the air and be having asking me about false ass information. Like, what the be wrong with these? What the be wrong with the fans for even believing these stupid ass little boys? Like, never been a lane. Kamiko on his watching me, she know who the real gang members is from my block, cause she used to come over there to see me and Matt. And who you used to see in my crib, them members on gang, just members. If you seen them in my crib, they was them members. Other than that, I was putting their ass out. I used to put the cop on them out my crib, boy. I used to put dust on them out my crib, boy. Get the out, y'all ass. Go outside and get killed. I don't give a get out of here.
In 2019, things would go from bad to worse for Rondo and C-Day, as both would lose their...
It's crazy. We don't know if he snitched or not. We don't really know. I mean, but there are people are saying he did snitch, and other people are saying he didn't snitch. So we don't really know what's true or not. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Thus affirming their sentences of 38 and 39 years. Rondo would also get mad at Vlad TV for reporting how his legal team had attempted to pursue a new trial based on the fact that his previous legal team should have more vigorously argued for the theory that C-Day was the sole shooter. Rondo's anger would then turn to Tay, calling him a snitch and a rat. Rondo would continue in a jail phone call recorded by a friend where he claimed that one of the eyewitnesses that had been tracked down was Jamonte Carpenter, Tay's government name.
Who the was a witness with them. I bet they say Jamonte Carpenter. Y'all look at the statement of facts in my case. Y'all gonna see that the police and state was trying to track down eyewitnesses. One of the names is Jamonte Carpenter.
However, for Tay, these documents would be more good news, as they would become available for free online, showing that he wasn't mentioned as a witness during trial. Around this time, Tay was also officially announcing that he was changing his artist name from Tay 600 to Tay Capone, with the last name, of course, being a tribute to his fallen friend L.A. Capone. In 2022, M-Thang would post to his Instagram story claiming that 600 members only distanced themselves from Tay in fear of what other members might think, and arguing that Tay never actually stated who did the shooting. Trigger and S-Dot are some of the other members who have steamingly stuck with Tay throughout most of this drama. In 2021, Trigger would comment on his relationship with Tay, saying that he was locked up during most of the drama and that he hadn't seen any paperwork about him, and that he didn't care what other people thought. And in 2023, Tay would post a photo of himself hanging out in 600's hood with Trigger. S-Dot, on the other hand, would reflect on his relationship with Tay in his recent No Jumper interview, saying how he can't turn his back on his brother and that they had fought but eventually come to an understanding.
You and Tay still tight?
Yeah, that's my brother.
I seen for a minute, cause like a lot of people in 600 had like turned their back on Tay, but you was one of the first ones I seen. I came together and did an interview.
Yeah, I can't turn my back on, buddy. It's my boy.
How y'all get back in tune? Like, what was that conversation like?
It was like a real brother conversation. We argued, sent some threats, but it was, that's my brother. But yeah, he was tweaking with me, I was tweaking with his This the first time we ain't talked in a long time, so like, yeah, it was a little heated, but we got past. That's my brother, we got new music and shit on the way.
During the annual celebration for D-Thang in 2023, Tay could be seen celebrating in the same video with numerous 600 members, such as S-Dot, Trigger, Domo, M-Thang, and Young Famous. Meanwhile, in the years following their sentences, footage has come out of Rondo and C-Day behind the prison walls. C-Day would even be interviewed through a jail phone, during which he claimed that he regrets doing things for the people that he did.
I regret I did, I did for all the wrong.
And complaining that no one from 600 has put money on his books or paid his lawyer fees.
It's making money off, things that I put my blood, sweat, and tears for, and for me to backbite down M-Thang roles, I mean, we fight for our life.
I mean, this is you're in the street gang. You think they give a fuck about you? They don't care. They don't give a fuck. I'm trying to tell you, why do niggas think these gangs care about you? They don't care. You get locked up, they're not gonna do nothing for you. They're gonna fuck your baby moms. Come on, they don't care, bro. That's why I don't get why niggas put their blood, sweat, and tear for this cruise shit, go to jail for years. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna snitch. And niggas not helping them. Come on now. Exactly what you
No
signed.
money, no loyalty.
C-Day also shared that he went to trial with a public defender, while Lil Durk had seemingly paid for Rondo's lawyer fees, as Rondo was signed to Durk's label OTF at the time. C-Day was ultimately left with nothing, and pretty much felt that Rondo threw him under the bus. By 2014, Team 600 had become famous all over Chicago and the wider world as both a gang and a collective of drill rappers. 600 started 2014 strong, with one of their first releases being the sequel to their Big Crew anthem 600 on the 30th of January, dropping 600 Part 2. The music video for this track now stands at over 14 million views. And when 600 had released the Part 1, they'd already lost several members, but the original song included L.A. Capone, who was still alive at the time, one of their most loved and respected members and their clear #1 star in the making at the time. Part 1 was the introduction to this all-star drill team to the public. However, after the death of their biggest prospect, L.A. Capone, Part 2 was seemingly 600's way of letting both the fans and their ops know that despite this huge loss, 600 could not be stopped, neither in the drill music scene or in the streets of Chicago. The hook of the song seemed to reference 600 losing members and planning to kill for the gang in revenge. Both S-Dot and Tay 600 would also pay tribute to LA in their verses, while E-Day's verse would have some eerie foreshadowing of the tragic events that would take place not even a month after the video's release, where he rapped about Rondo finishing the job and taking a charge. And talking about foreshadowing, in the video, people can be seen wearing free D-Rose shirts. Now, D-Rose is one of the most infamous and dangerous savages in 600 who has been shouted out as a prolific shooter numerous times by other people. At the time of the shooting of the video, D-Rose was seemingly locked up, but he would be released already before the music video was released. D-Rose, real name Arbia Sardin, was originally from the area known as Motown, which is a large black pea stone stronghold around Sherman Park on the south side, with Mo's being a common nickname for the members of their gang, deriving from the Islamic beliefs of the crew. In early photos, a young D-Rose can be seen throwing up a 5, which represents the 5-point star that is one of the symbols of the Black Pea Stones and the people nation that they belong to. D-Rose's father was a well-respected Black Pea Stone leader known as General Ranger, this name likely deriving from the fact that the Black Pea Stones were originally known as the Blackstone Rangers. General Ranger was known for making money, but also giving back to his community, and he would reportedly hand out school supplies and book bags to children in the area. But unfortunately, Ranger, real name Alaroy Marcus Sardine, would be killed in 2006 during a robbery all the way in Texas, as Tay 600 aka Tay Capone would later explain in his YouTube channel.
You feel me? His mama and his...
That's crazy, y'all, for real. Really think about it, yo, for real. They really think about it, though. Saying? That's what it is.
His daddy really from... His mama and his daddy is Motown originals. You feel me? Both of them. His daddy got killed way before all of this. Daddy got killed out of town.
D-Rose's mother was also a well-known and loved figure in the area, and D-Rose seemingly had a very different upbringing from many of the other kids in the area, as his mother made sure that none of her kids attended the public schools in the area that were well known for their poor performance and problematic behavior, including gang activity. Another detail which Tay 600 would break down in detail on his YouTube channel.
D-Rose mama, she a gangster, she from the block, I mean she from the town, she a real street girl, but she always wanted the best for her kids. Like, she always wanted the best for D-Rose and them. Like, when we was a shorty, like I always tell y'all, the shorties, we went to the hood schools, Carter, Dunbar, Sexton, Dulles. D-Rose and his siblings didn't go to none of them schools. D-Rose and his siblings was going to the private school that was smack dab in the middle of the hood.
Indeed, the other members of 600 attending the public schools in the area would get into all kinds of altercations at school.
Went to a private school? That's crazy.
One of these schools was the Dunbar High School in the Bronzeville neighborhood, which was known for its heavy gang activity and violent gang-related incidents. One Reddit commenter on the Chiracology subreddit shared a story about his uncle attending Dunbar and the various sets that would clash at the school. According to Tay 600, L.A. Capone used to get into fights there weekly due to many of his friends quitting school, leaving him all alone in class to fight against his ops.
Like, and I wasn't cool. Like, L.A. was like a little scrawny, bro, but he had the heart of a lion. And he ended up going to high school, and by the time he got to the high school where a lot of the guys used to go to, a lot of the guys dropped out, stopped going, got kicked out, and a lot of ops came in. And he was not finna, he was content on going to school, you know what I'm saying? And the ops weren't finna make him not go to school. So he'd go to school and get jumped once or twice a week, or be in a fight, a real bad fight, every week. And it's just like, I'm steady hearing this, and I'm coming home from out there, folks' eyes black, you feel me? Like, But he's still out here and he's still going to school.
While D Rose's parents were both from a gang background, they were doing their best to try and make sure that their son didn't get involved in that lifestyle, and they were giving him and his siblings the best life they possibly could in this troubled neighborhood. Unfortunately, their efforts could ultimately not stop D Rose from becoming the product of his environment, and from a young age, D Rose would hang with his elders on the block, getting increasingly sucked into the gang lifestyle. Many videos would later circulate, seemingly showing D Rose getting active in the streets, where he would be filmed throwing up gang signs.
Take no picture of me, bro. Why you take pictures of me, bro? Why you going? Yeah, that way could be Cairo. Probably walking Shandale.
One video would go around where he would be seen beating up and robbing an op on camera. D Rose would even film himself after the op shot at him.
Still out, man. Just shooting on my leg, man. It ain't, man. We still up on this L block. Late night, me and Maintain. You know, they was just shooting at our legs on King David. You know.
He would film himself sliding in cars with Rondo, as well as Lil Durk and Chief Whoop, as well as posting clips where he claims he was smoking on Tuka with his shooters.
Let me get that lighter, bro. Smoking Tuka with my shooters. Smoking Tuka with my shooters.
There's no way, y'all. Now this is insane, and this is crazy for real. Really.
And despite only dabbling with rap, D Rose himself was seemingly infatuated with drill music, regularly turning up to the gangbanging anthems that his friends like Chief Keef were making.
I was on that young drilling posting. Don't get on with the stuff. We gonna drill that. Look at that. Like heaven now.
Although he was originally from Motown, D Rose was seemingly an original 600 member who had lived in the neighborhood long before 600 the gang had even formed, having moved there with his family near 59th in Indiana when he was still a little boy. The private school that D Rose attended also had many Front Street members, which is how he would allegedly first become affiliated with these local gang sets. D Rose is also reportedly cousins with G Muma and 50 Shot Mall, who are prominent members of the Folly Boys set, which is located in Motown, where his father Ranger was from. And on subreddits like Chiracology, D Rose's affiliation is commonly put as 600/Folly Boys. Eventually, this lifestyle would bring him the nickname D Rose, and although he used to be an avid basketball player and likely a fan of the actual player D Rose, aka Derrick Rose, an NBA player from Chicago, the nickname D Rose would in fact have a much more sinister meaning, with Tay 600 saying that he got the name because he only needs one shot to kill his ops.
You know, D Rose, he wasn't always D Rose, you know what I'm saying? He got his name D Rose for only needing one. All I'm gonna say about that, Shorty only need one shot. It's over with. He don't need a lot of for him. He only need one.
Indeed, the court documents from the murder of FBG Duck would actually reveal that D Rose was implicated in a murder that had taken place all the way back in 2011, when he would have been just 13 years old. This being the murder of a boy named Dale Fisher, also known as Squirrel.
13 years old. 13.
Who was from STL's neighborhood. The allegation was that D Rose was one of the shooters in Dale's murder, as told by FBG Butter, who famously became one of the cooperators in Duck's murder case in 2023, along with YouTuber Trench's News, with Butter allegedly telling the prosecution that he had witnessed D Rose, together with the short but super savage T-Roy from O-Block, killing Dale in December 2011. Sadly, many members of STL and Dale's family claim that Dale was not even involved in the streets or gang life, but simply just hung around people who were. Shockingly, some people have even suggested that Dale might not have even been D Rose's first body. Indeed, D Rose's murder rap sheet allegedly runs a lot deeper than this. All the more shocking when you consider the fact that he was barely a teenager during these years. He was also rumored to have been involved in the murder of King Doc, real name Marlon Monroe, who was affiliated with the STL EBT set, specifically the EBT side. Doc was shot whilst walking near 63rd and St. Lawrence, the heart of STL's territory, when somebody opened fire while he was in front of a corner store, striking Doc once in the chest. Doc would then try to escape across the road and through a patch of tall weeds in an empty lot on the 6300 block of St. Lawrence, where he would ultimately ultimately succumbed to his injuries, later being discovered by his relative, a boy named Modell McCambry. Now, anybody that's seen my video, King Von, Rap's First Serial Killer, likely remembers that Modell himself would also meet an equally tragic ending not long after, with O-Block's King Von rumored to have been involved in both murders along with T-Roy. Anyway, following the social media activity of EBT members after Doc's death, it appeared that police thought that the Black Disciples were responsible. Particularly, Lamron and Brick City, aka 600, were their top suspects for this murder. However, many of the OG Brick City members were actually gangster disciples who had beef with members of Lamron just a few years earlier, as we know from Lil Durk's early lyrics dissing the set in his 2009 song R.I.P. Mo. Brick City's younger generation, on the other hand, were primarily Black Disciples, which ultimately became the default set for the new generation that called themselves 600. As Tay 600 implies on his 2021 song Way Back When, where he says that a lot of members were flipped from GD to BD when they joined 600. Online drill fans have long debated who from 600 might have been involved with the murder of Doc, with D Rose actually being one strong contender. However, if that wasn't enough, there's also another completely different Doc that D Rose had also allegedly rumored to have killed in 2012. This was a man called Lil Doc from the so-called No Love City on the west side of the Dan Ryan Expressway, more specifically from a set in that area that operates around 57th and Throop Street, although there's very little information available about this Doc altogether. What we do know from his cousin's tweets, though, is that he died on the 13th of August 2012. The reason why some people think that D Rose had something to do with Lil Doc's death was also to do with his cousin's tweets, as following Doc's death, he would diss D Rose and 600 numerous times. However, what makes this case confusing is the fact that there's seemingly no news about a murder that took place on the 13th or 12th or 14th that would seemingly fit this case. The closest thing is a news article about a 19-year-old killed by security guards after shooting at them in the early morning hours of the 13th. This took place in the fall.
I just don't know how some people live like this. Really, to be honest, I just want to know, how do they live like this? Really crazy.
Far south side suburb of Richton Park, which is possibly why some people claim that Doc was indeed killed during hitting a lick. However, this doesn't seem to match the description of his cousin, who later tweeted several times about the murder seemingly happening on their block. He even tweeted about running to the location where Doc had been shot, that location being on the Elizabeth Street right next to Throop Street. Doc's cousin would also claim that he knew who killed him, but later has implied that he doesn't know, with there seemingly being too many rumors out there. So it's very difficult to say whether rumors about D Rose's involvement in this murder are true. Furthermore, D Rose has also commonly been rumored to have been one of those involved in the killing of none other than Lil Jojo, the GD rapper who went to war with Lil Durk and Lil Reese's Lamron 300 set, and put an enormous target on his back when he released the song BDK, calling for all Black disciples in Chicago to be killed. On the 4th of September 2012, Jojo dropped that song BDK and caused an avalanche of hate and death threats from Black disciples. He would even post an infamous video where he confronts Lil Reese on the street, yelling at him whilst driving by.
Hey, Reese alone. Yeah. Hey, I am Brick Squad. Yeah, Brick Squad, boy. What you talking about, boy? We get up.
I'm confused. The judge of them caught Reese. How come they didn't do him right there? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, man.
Jojo would seemingly not be scared of the Black disciples that he'd upset, tweeting that he is outside on Brick Squad's territory. And it's believed that soon after this event, several cars traveled to the location searching for Jojo, where a security camera would capture him riding a bike together with another boy when a couple of cars would follow along behind them. Both Jojo and the first car would move beyond the camera's view, and soon the other boy can be seen running away from the scene in the opposite direction. One of those rumored to have been inside one of those cars was D Rose himself, while another popular suspect was a gang member called Poo Poo Man from an Inglewood-based BD set called SMB, or Sean Money Boys. He's perhaps best known by drill fans due to a bar in Chief Keef's classic diss track War from 2014, where he raps that he calls up Poo Poo Man when he needs someone killed. Anyway, after the murder, Jojo would be mocked all over the internet, including by members of 600 like LA Capone, and D Rose would also a few years later diss Jojo by joking about his favorite color on Twitter with King Von and Bite Down. These are only a few examples of murders that D Rose's name has been connected to whilst he was still incredibly young. Therefore, it's not a surprise then that once word spread of D Rose's activities, he would garner a lot of respect in the streets. Moreover, once drill music became a nationwide and global phenomenon around 2012, D Rose would become a drill celebrity without dropping a single song, particularly due to Chief Keef often shouting him out in songs portraying him as a teenage assassin. D Rose would even make a rare cameo in Keef's early music video for the song John Madden in 2011. Then, in October 2012, only about a month after Lil Jojo's death, Keef would also put out one of his biggest hits to date, Love Sosa, where he raps a line that would become a drill classic: "Don't make me call D Rose, boy, he's 600, boy, and to keep that pole, boy, you gon' get..." over. You know the bar. In fact, ever since October the 8th, 2012, when videographer D Gaines released a preview to the Love Sosa video ending on lyrics about D Rose, these lyrics would ultimately become a trend on Twitter. Although at this point, many listeners still thought that Chief Keef was actually talking about D Rose, the basketball player, causing a flurry of hilarious viral tweets with clueless fans in shock that a professional basketball player, Derrick Rose, would be putting in work for 600 on the streets. As Tay 600 would later explain on his YouTube channel, D Rose would perhaps become the first person in drill history to become famous for just being a shooter.
Before yelling his name, you feel me? Before yelling his name, and it's blowing up to the point where D Rose is becoming a celebrity, bro. Like D Rose was becoming a celebrity right before our eyes, folks. Like it got to a point with D Rose where D Rose, the guys around, like I seen them turning into fans of D Rose, and he was not making a song. He didn't make a song. Like he didn't make a song, bro. You feel me? It was just clout from being a savage. Like I didn't understand it, folks. Like he was the first to do that. Like become known off being savage. You feel me? Like that was just real loud. I never seen that before in person, in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? But D Rose was blowing up like some type of celebrity. You know what I'm saying?
With D Rose's name ringing hard in the streets at this time, and it's even said that he repped as many as 7 different gang sets, or at least had very close ties with them, with these sets being 600, TYMB, O-Block, THF46, Front Street, Lamron, and the Folly Boys. According to Tay 600, even the infamous shooter Tay Savage, aka Chicago's John Wick, all the way from Welch World in the low end, would attempt to recruit D Rose to join his Welch World set because he knew what a serious shooter D Rose was in the streets.
There was disinsertions from his hood because they was into a black pulled up to my crib and was looking for D Rose. He said, man, this man told me, he said, I ain't gonna lie, on Welch, I want him. I want Rose. Tell Rose I said, hit my line, man. Tell Rose I said, come with me. On BD, he said he got pipe, everything D Rose want. On BD, whatever Rose want, he got it for him. He gonna put Drake in his hand. He gonna put Drake, ARP, 30, whatever he want, whatever Rose want. On BD, he got it for Rose. And I'm just looking like, man, what on video? What the f on, boy? That Rose, our slider, he's sliding for us on King David. He ain't gonna be on the hill now. Here I'm talking for Rose and BD whole time. Rose on BD, he probably would've rolled around with Takers. Rose like other gangsters too, folks. On BD, but Rose like other gangsters too on King David, folks. This man come to my crib trying to recruit D Rose, folks. It's just like, I'm just like, damn, on BD, you mean that much to you, folks? Like you don't got enough savages, enough guns, enough this and that. You feel me? Like you just want more.
Bro, I try to sit there and recruit D Rose. It's crazy. What is this? The military?
Artillery, more savages in your circle, more demons in your vicinity. On BDE recruiting the gangsters.
Due to his young age and his reputation.
Alright, yo, that's it for part 5. I'll see you guys in part 6. I'm out.